All right, I'd like to call the November 14th, 2024 voting session to order. I'm going to start out with a salute to the flag and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Baldino.
Here.
Mr. Cannon. Ms. Cudahy.
Here.
Mr. Elling.
Present.
Mr. Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Knopf.
Here.
Ms. Lynch.
Here.
Mr. Scaff.
Here.
Ms. Smith. Here. 1, 2, 8 members present.
All right, thank you. All right, so what I would like to do is I'd actually like to start out the meeting because there was some mistakes made on the last meeting and I want to address them. All right, so just actually have the people down in the office, I think. But all right, so basically what I want to do is let it be known that at the last meeting we talked about Robert's Rules of Order and Chapter 20 of the 12th edition. That what was it? Chapter 20. It deals with disciplinary action. It doesn't deal with what's going on with delegates and stuff like that. That's actually Chapter 13. Just wanted to point that out. That way everybody knows. That way we kind of seem like we know what we're doing. So, and one of the things is that our delegates are what we call free delegates. So we elect them and they do what they feel is in our best interest. We don't actually direct them on everything that they do. So with that being said, let's move forward and let's see. First thing we have is hearing of visitors. So with that,
Oh, may I,
Okay.
Mr.
okay. And with that, I'd like to read that Board of Directors encourages comment from a citizen. Each community member may speak a period of no longer than 4 minutes per board policy. Please understand that this is not a time for dialogue with the board. Rather, the board will listen to all comments and then consider them in future deliberations. Our individual email addresses are on the website, and if you'd like to contact your individual board representative, we ask that you please direct complaints of a personal nature regarding an individual employee directly to the superintendent. Okay, so with that being said, first all, Josie Bidwell. Later.
Okay.
She's gonna have to stand on her chair to reach the mic.
I'm good.
You got it, Trace?
Yeah.
Okay.
My name is Josie Bidwell and I'm here to talk about POG program. I love POG program because it allows me to make new friends. It allows me to play with friends without the summer. Learn lessons. Be kind. Teachers teach kindness. We become a family. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Josie.
Hey, Josie. Can you see me?
See Mrs. Donahue?
It's Miss Polly. I wanted to tell you you did a great job.
All right. Next up, Elizabeth. Go ahead.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Good evening. I'm Elizabeth Lynch, citizen of Mill Hall. Some deeper details on the ongoing Keystone Central School District Tax Office situation. In September, I received an unsolicited 100% voluntary letter posted to me, citizen Elizabeth Lynch, not school board member Elizabeth Lynch. I cannot share the name of the sender. The following are not my words, but due to the content and the current situation, I will share portions of the letter. I hope the sender will someday feel safe and come forward. But if they don't, I will be their voice tonight. Excerpts taken from the letter sent to me personally. The tax office collects a commission on EIT, LST, and business privilege taxes to pay for wages, benefits, as well as retirement. Tax office pays for all the supplies and services needed to run the tax office since 2012. The tax office also collects real estate, provides tax certifications for a $50 fee a parcel, fields phone calls, and copies receipts and real estate bill copies. This is done for the school district. This is provided for free to the school district, and the tax office does not collect a commission or keeps the tax certification fees. It also has been brought to my attention that there are many delinquent employers that are withholding the local EIT from their employees, but are not reporting them to the tax office. The tax office supervisor does know about these employers, but there's no enforcement to collect these delinquent taxes. Not reporting EIT withheld from your employees is illegal, and legal action should be taken, but no legal action has been taken as of this date. The tax office has also provided the administration building a service at the window, which is also being paid by the tax office budget. The window person does about 85% work for Keystone Central School District administration and about 15% for the tax office. This secretary's wages and benefits comes out of the tax office budget. So if the school district would give the tax office commission for collecting the real estate tax, and then they could lower the commission rate to the municipalities. End of letter. Comments, copies available upon request. Questions to consider. These are my questions, not in the letter. Where does the collected tax certification $25 fee payment go, and how much is collected every year? And regarding alleged EIT delinquent tax payments that are outstanding, why not demand the complete list and then make a directive to collect those taxes? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up, committee reports. Policy committee had a meeting, so
Yesterday, we had a meeting. It was about 40 minutes long. I'm tickled to death to say the silico reviews are done. We're through it.
good. For now.
We had a really good constructive meeting. We are going to reschedule another meeting for December 10th at 10 a.m. just to finish up a couple loose ends here and there. And before the year starts, because Dr. Redmond already knows that PSBA has a bunch of stuff coming. So we're just gonna
Okay.
tie up some loose stuff to move forward.
All right, very good. Thank you. Okay. So,
If I could jump in real quick.
go, oh yeah,
Let's
I'm
skip
sorry,
over-
I forgot superintendent's
So
report. Go ahead.
typically I
yes.
don't do a superintendent's report. I do want to say a couple of things before we move on. I want to acknowledge all of the hard work and recognition that our schools did for our veterans on Monday. There were a variety of activities around the district in the different schools. And I really want to thank the principals and the teachers and the students for honoring all of us veterans for our service. We had, while Roger and I were meeting, we had a group of students who came and found us in my office and sang a song that Dr. Eldredge, the new choir teacher, had created.
Mhm.
And that was part of what they did. They walked around the whole school and found all the veterans. There was a really great celebration at Bucktail, about a 22-year tradition that they do in Bucktail to celebrate veterans. They also did a great celebration at Robb Elementary, and I know all the other schools had events as well. So I want to thank our administration and our teachers and our students for recognizing all of our veterans in the community for the service provided to us.
All right. I just actually want to emphasize exactly what Doc has said, that I've gone to the Robb Veterans Day program before. Tyler's school puts on a heck of a show, and it is touching. I know whenever I was there and my daughter was there, it's kind of moving. So also I wanted to go to Bucktail. However, I think I'm gonna have to do that next year, because this year the Veterans Park downtown across from the courthouse was rededicated, and I wanted to show my support there. And I will say that it was a very nice program, and the park looks really nice. So I encourage everybody, get a chance, head down there, just kind of take a look at it, kind of reflect on all the individuals that have served before. So Butch, go ahead.
Yeah, Roger, I just want to reiterate on the program at Bucktail. I actually attended it. What I like the best about it, it's pretty much done by the students, put on by the students, emceed by the students, and it's a phenomenal display of patriotism by our students, honoring our veterans. So I just want to say thank you to everyone involved.
All right, thank you, Butch. Okay, so all right. So back to G. Okay. Okay, so with that being said, Chris, would you move the entire agenda except for those items specifically removed for special consideration?
I'll make a move to move the entire agenda except for some things that I need to bring up, I want to ask about, and any other motions anybody else has.
Okay, do
Second.
I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. All right. Now, Chris, go down through the line. Yep.
I have G, number 1. I is number 11. K for business, L for personnel,
What in K? What specifically in K?
1, 3, 5, and 7.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay,
Did you say L1 also?
Yes.
Thank you.
okay. Does anybody else have any thing that they would like pulled? Okay.
Because it's all my fault.
All right, so, go ahead. We have a motion. We have a second.
Second.
Okay. Already have, Tracy.
Oh, you did, oh, I'm sorry. didn't I?
Tracy did it. right.
Yeah.
On G1,
Hold on,
okay, go
hold
ahead.
on. We're gonna move the agenda and then we'll come back through
All
and
right,
go.
go ahead.
So can I get a roll call vote?
Valtino,
No.
Mr. Cannon. Ms. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Helly,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Knopf,
Yes.
Ms. Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Scaff,
Yes.
Ms. Smith. Yes. 7 yes, 1 no.
Thank you. Okay. Go ahead, Chris.
Under G, number 1,
You have to make the motion.
Hmm?
You make them, I'd like to make a motion to move G1.
okay, I'd like to make a motion to move G1.
Second.
That's the enrollment report. Are we down 19 just in the last month?
Before we can talk about it, we have to
Second.
have a motion in the second and then.
Okay,
Oh.
so we got a motion, we got the second.
Second it.
Okay. So, all right, we got a second. Go ahead, Chris.
Are we down 19 just in 1 month? Is there a reason or?
We often see a lot of fluctuations in the first couple of months of school. If we look back at previous reports, there's a lot of movement. So we are down from, 3,338 last month to 3,319.
Right, we're down 55, but I was just curious on the last month. Okay,
One of the things you have to keep in mind, Chris, is there are people that come into the school thinking, okay, I'm gonna try in person or something like
Right.
that. Or they might say, I want to go back to wherever or something like that. And you'll see a lot of that.
that's why I was just wondering.
Yep.
That was it on that one.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right.
Aye. Okay,
Second one, I'd like to make a motion for I policy. Number 11.
okay.
Give me a second.
Well,
I'll second it.
thank you, Butch.
Thank you, Butch. I
Okay,
just want it to be known that last week when we brought that up, and I said that was to be tabled, it was
Right.
my mistake. It wasn't 8:15 to be tabled, it's 8:15.1,
okay,
which was in with Dr. Redmond with some stuff we got to deal with.
It's a different
Okay.
So
policy.
that was my mistake that I said, let's table that one. That one can pass tonight if we want.
okay,
Okay,
Cool.
thank you, Chris.
okay.
Alright.
So we got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next.
I make a motion, we open K1, bills for payment.
Okay. Get a second, please.
Second.
Okay,
On page 30 and 31, the tax office bills I asked about last week. I did some research and I can't find anywhere where it says that legally I can vote for stuff that happened in 21 to 22, 22 to 23. I'll take on from the time I was sworn in on, but I cannot make a motion to pay bills for something from years prior to us being here. And I'm curious why that is like that. I remember Joni, you had said that it's because they didn't have enough money, but I don't see how the TCC or the tax office, whatever you want to call it, could not have had enough money to pay those bills. Why are we backing up?
So that was 3 years ago, which was prior my position, prior pretty much all of the administrators that are here today. But I do know that they did cut a check and it bounced from the tax office to the general fund 3 years ago. So then that was when it was determined that they not pay that. And then forward, those decisions again were made every year. Then it's assessed how much of a fund balance they have and a bank balance they have. And it was determined they don't have enough to pay that from year to year.
So the own office that we run and we take care of was not making enough to cover its bills?
It pretty much just breaks even with, yes.
I don't know what it's gonna take, but I can't pass a vote on something back there. I had nothing to do back then. That's all there is to it.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm asking that these be pulled. Page 29, under bank category 15, line item 1. It's, well, the page numbers are different now. Okay, so now I have to figure that out. I went by the work session. Sorry, bear with me. Things were changed. Okay. Bear with me, thank you. It's after athletics. Okay. Want to make sure we're on the same page. Okay. Oh, all right, so it all got changed. This would be
All right,
interesting.
well,
Nothing was changed. This is the same
No, I
report.
know, but my page numbers, and so I don't want to say the wrong thing. So I have to find how it coordinates with this.
hey, Elizabeth,
Yes,
we do need to do a vote, and I appreciate the fact that you're looking for this, but you know,
okay, well,
We
I
need
can
to move
say,
it
all
on.
right, this is what I can say. All right. It's under bank number 15. It's called the tax office legal fees, check number 315. Litigation and legal services, request is be pulled. Request an itemized invoice so we understand the bill to be paid and why. Okay, so check number 315. Tax office legal fees, check number 399, September 2024, legal services. Request this be pulled, tabled, and we need an itemized invoice. So we understand the bill to be paid and why. Both of these, December 5th agenda. There's a line item, multiple items, 18 to be exact, all under check 400. Check 400. Pull all these items. They need to be tabled, separated out into specific checks and placed back on December 5th meeting agenda. They've all been bundled together and they are not the same thing.
okay, Elizabeth,
Yes.
can I point out something here?
Mhm.
These legal checks that you're talking about
Yes.
and pulling and stuff like that, okay? When we receive our invoices to pay these things,
Mhm.
they are not broken out into,
Well, I'm requesting
Specific
that they
things.
are.
okay, do you realize that that is going to cost the district more money to actually have the attorneys break these things down?
Well, if an attorney is sending us a blanket bill for $6,000 or $10 and he doesn't, or she doesn't specify what it's for, where are the checks and balances?
Joni, how are these how do these invoices come in?
It's-
Are they by hours or? Okay, my bad.
Most of them are by hours. Some are broken out by case load, but the Flam Walton, that is, I believe, broken out by hours.
Okay, do we have the power to request that our solicitors break the items out on the invoices? Would that really be,
So there's a level of detail that I think as an individual board member, if you want to look at what those invoices are, you're welcome to do so. I don't know that it makes sense to do that on a report like this. So we do have the individual invoices, and you're welcome as a board member or any citizen to look at the individual invoices if you like. This is a reporting document that we use to show where, you know, how we're paying and who we're paying to. We don't get into that level of detail on these kind of reports. Like I said, you're welcome to look at those kind of details, but that's not typically relevant or what the board should be considering at the board meetings. If you want to dive down further, that's outside of the board meetings. This document is just to give that overview of where the checks are going into what organizations.
Okay,
Okay,
so,
all right,
Alright.
if you don't want them itemized, if the majority doesn't want to see them itemized, that's, and what they're
Okay.
actually being paid for, I am only one person.
legal hours is what they're being paid for.
Okay,
All right.
I'm not done.
Billable hours.
okay,
All right.
thank you. Office supplies, again, check number 400. These are 3 years back and from closed annual budgets. Does this mean the financial records were misrepresented to the auditors for those years? And if so, were the auditors told? I, as a school board member, will not approve payments connected to closed years. I request the district's auditors, Baker and Tilly, attend the December 5th school board meeting to explain this. I would like to see check number 40 tabled, separated out into separate checks and placed back on the December 5th agenda, please. Dues and fees, again, check number 40, it's a credit card expense.
You mean 400?
Check number 400, yes, again, this is all bundled together. It's a credit card expense. It just says list of named dues and fees.
Basically this whole.
So-
This is it for, it's page 30 as it was marked on the PDF document. It's
So may I
under the
continue?
Keystone Central Tax Office Administration, Fund 15,
Okay.
What page
And
is
if I'm not
this?
mistaken,
30.
they have their own, that is their own stuff. We have no control over that. I mean, oh, we do?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Okay,
Yes, cost for the tax office.
Yes,
Okay.
so may I continue, please?
go ahead.
Thank you. Dues and fees, again, check 400, credit card expenses. Request this also be tabled and just list what the due and fees are for and placed on the December agenda. Miscellaneous expenses, annual office rent, again, check number 400. These are 3 years back and from closed annual budgets. It is my understanding that this $50,000 tax office rent payment was stopped in 2021, fiscal year 2022, because the auditors couldn't connect this payment to any other document. Again, does this mean the district's finance records connected to this $150,000 bill to pay is misrepresented? Is this a real bill? Where was the $150,000 allocated these last 3 years? As a school board member, I will not approve payments connected to closed years. I request the district auditors, Baker and Tilly, attend the December 5th school board meeting to explain this. These items need to be tabled. until
Okay,
we receive-
Elizabeth, you're trying to make a motion, correct?
Oh, yep,
To have these things tabled.
And so we can-
We're not preaching about having
Okay.
Baker Tilly come here.
all right.
All right, so please make your motion.
Mhm.
we can
Well,
move
it's an
forward.
explanation. It's an
We're in the
explanation.
middle of the motion, so.
Yes.
At the end of discussion, you
Yeah.
have to vote on the
Okay.
motion
Okay.
that's on the table.
And then this one, S4T Tax Office, check number 401, substitute clerical aid for the tax office. This might be a typo, or was the tax office open for business on Saturday, October 12th? Please clarify before it's approved. Was a substitute clerical person in the tax office on a Saturday? Or was it just a typo?
Okay. Is that it?
Yes. I would like
Okay.
this pulled.
Okay. In order for us to do this, you have to get him to,
There's a motion, second on the table, and there's.
Uh,
Yeah,
discussion.
There's already a motion.
yeah, so, okay, so,
We need the motion read back, please. It's so
Okay, go ahead,
confusing right
Chris.
now. No, that's Christine's job.
okay,
If we're gonna follow Robert's Rules of Order, the secretary reads the motion back.
okay.
Do you want me to just-
Obviously, she didn't get it, so.
So we have no idea what the motion.
So the motion on the table that has been seconded is bills for payment.
Right.
Right.
Okay, it has been moved and it has been seconded. Okay, we have
What's the
discussion
motion?
to pay, to
all
approve the
bills.
bills for
Approve,
payment.
Okay.
To approve the bills.
Okay. So with that being said, okay, with the motion and seconded, roll call.
Ms. Donahue,
Yes.
Yes.
okay. Mr. Elling,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Knopf,
Yes.
Ms. Lynch,
No way.
Mr. Scott,
No.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Dr. Baldino,
No.
Mr. Cannon. 5 yeses.
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment, please?
Go ahead.
Even though the motion passed, I'm kind of curious about some of the stuff Elizabeth and Chris was asking about. And I'd like to see if we can get some clarification from the tax office and from the business office and have it sent to us in an email so we know what's going on. I mean, there was a lot of questions that was asked that probably need answered.
I totally agree with you. I was gonna say something along that line, but you beat me to the punch, so.
I prefer not through email, because if we put the solicitor's name on it, it's not public information. This is the public's money. I request Baker Tilly come to December 5th meeting and we hear it from the auditor.
Put that in the form of a motion.
I'd like to put that in the form of a motion, please.
I'll second that.
That is actually what we need to do in order to add that to the agenda. The board has to approve to add it to the agenda. And then at that point, then we can make
That's what that
The
motion
motion.
does. She's moving to add it to the agenda.
For
and-
December
and
5th, yes.
It's as close as
For-
anything else.
for December
I just like a reasoning on it, that's all, a legal ruling,
okay,
that's it.
yeah, Dr. Baldino. So. Now, just so you know, we don't have to do a motion. I can direct Dr. Redmond to actually put that on.
Yeah.
So we don't really need to vote on that. Okay,
Well, we do now because it's on the floor unless,
so,
unless, I'm not even sure. I'd have to go back to Robert's rules to see if Elizabeth could retract that motion.
yes, she can retract it, so that way we can move
But,
forward.
Okay, you promise, guarantee.
Yep, we'll have.
And they can zoom in, they don't have to travel. Okay,
We'll get we can get clarification, correct, Joni? On those checks that you pointed out?
Yes, what they are is just the rent, and the 50,000 is the rent that was not paid for 3 years. All the other things are their quarterly invoice for the wages. I mean, it's exactly as it says. This check 400, the salary tax office, the 64,000, that's exactly what it is. We invoice them quarterly. Fund 10, general fund invoices, tax office, Fund 15, quarterly for exactly what it says on here. Wages, medical insurance, dental, life, vision, Medicare, retirement, workers' comp, copier lease, all of those things
Mhm.
Well, you're
get
saying that's coming across the-
invoiced out quarterly and reimbursed. So that's happens every quarter. So that's
you asked
pretty
about-
self-explanatory.
You asked the 400 to be broken out. She just explained to you why it's all 400 because
Yes.
it's kind of the HR function. So can you maybe help us understand a little
Sure.
bit what you're asking?
The items from the 3 years ago, there is no
No,
documentation.
no, this, I'm specific
sorry.
about number 400 because
Okay.
you went through kind of all of the things on 400.
Yes,
So you're looking at, so in the 400, check 400 specifically, you're looking at the office rent? And then the other things are okay? I'm asking to make sure that we answer your question.
okay, I will not go into the itemized because the majority of the board does not care to see itemized. So Office supplies on check number 400, the 3 back years. Okay, to hear that from Baker Tilly, the explanation. I'll hold off on the dues and fees. Credit card, we'll just leave that as a,
Expenses for the office.
sure, but it would be nice if it was explained a little more in detail next time. Office, annual office rent, again, check 400 for the past 3 years. It has to be tied to a contract, a document or something.
Right, I
Baker Tilly.
understand. So,
Yes.
But the clarifying question I had was you're asking for the back years
Mhm.
things on there. And so that's.
The
what you're asking
reason,
for
if it's
clarification.
Baker, I want to hear an auditor's explanation on how that is legal and is there anything else we need to do? And also an answer to the question, substitute clerical aid in our tax office, is that a typo that needs to be corrected? Or did we have a substitute clerical aid
No, we
in the
don't.
office when it was closed on
No.
September?
No.
On,
No, we didn't have anything working on Saturday. Clearly it's a typo. So-
Okay. Thank you.
I would have to check with Baker Tilly about December 5th. I can't confirm whether or not they can
Well, I understand. We can have a special
come
meeting.
to that.
Okay.
And actually, Elizabeth, I would actually like to ask you, you had mentioned previous times that you had a detailed analysis report that the prior business manager gave you. I guess I would be surprised that that wasn't in there. I don't have a copy of that. And if you have a copy, I'd like that. But I'm surprised that that information wasn't in there since it was from like 3 years ago.
No, I was never, as a school board member, I was never given a report, or if one was handed out, I did not take one. It was a verbal explanation on these issues.
Okay, I had thought you said a report.
Well, she had something on her laptop. She was looking at her laptop. So I paraphrased, report.
Chris?
Joni, how could they bounce a check? If we bounced a check to them, they'd be on the doorstep the next day wanting their keys.
I wasn't in this position at that
You weren't
time.
there
I
then,
can't
okay.
answer that.
All right, I just find that a little wild that a tax office bounced a check.
Hey, Chris, it's BJT before Joni's time,
Okay,
okay? So, all right, let's, sure, absolutely.
Before we do anything with Baker Tilly, what would they be able to tell us that we don't already know from you? I mean, I guess I'm kind of confused as to what the purpose of that would be. I mean, they did the audit. They said the audit was clean. What else are they going to tell us?
Okay. All right, Chris, let's move on. Employee holiday
number
meal.
3, employees holidays meals. Last week I got into
You need to make the motion.
oh, sorry. I make a motion, we open number 3, employee holiday meals.
I'll
Just
second that.
for clarification on that, thank you for the second. When you say open, is the motion to approve it and then we'll discuss it and then we'll vote on it? So because the language you use for the motion is kind of important. So are you?
Okay,
moving
I'll
to
make a
approve?
motion that we approve it with discussion.
Thank you.
I'll second it.
Okay, seconded. Okay, we have a motion and a second discussion. Now,
Okay, last week, this got into a fairly heated discussion. And I just want to make it clear, I had a couple teachers talk to me about this. That we're told, no, us board members don't care about that. And I want to make it very clear to every student, board member, staff member, I care about them more than anything. That's why I give my time to be here. Doesn't have anything to do with a $5.40 meal. What it has to do with, and I even rounded it up, if we get, Joni, you said it was $50,000 every 3 years donated. I rounded it up, if we use $4,000 a year over the last 3 years, that's $12,000. And now in November, we have no money. Where'd the other 38,000 go? Because like Dr. Redmond said, that was before his time.
Yes.
And he's absolutely right. And it was also before the time of the new board members. So we're gonna back up the bus to the finance manager. Where'd that 38,000 go?
Says right there, Chris, where they spent it, right in the motion. Or right on the.
I don't buy signs for $38,000.
They didn't spend $38,000.
That has nothing to do with health and wellness.
They didn't spend 38,000 on signs.
Well, there's $38,000 missing because
It's not missing.
It's
It was
not.
utilized for different purposes during that time frame.
well, you know where it could have been utilized best? Think about that and I'll bring it up in a little bit.
Okay, so just to let you know, the health and wellness group,
Mhm.
okay, here in the district, they have done health and wellness days at the state park. There are other days that they have done things for the teachers to try and get them into healthier issues or healthier habits. So they have been utilized for that type of stuff too.
Understand what you're saying, but if we're coming into a November meeting saying that account's dry and we need money to show our support for the teachers who I thoroughly support, we're not managing that fund correctly. That's all I'm saying.
Just for some more historical context, I can't with a surety say that the money to pay for holiday meals has always come out of the wellness account. It's
That's what
about-
was said the other day. That's
about
what we usually say.
0.0045% of the district budget that has come up from a variety of sources. It has most recently come from this wellness credit that we get. My request for the board is just that you allow me to take $4,000 from somewhere to be able to support the holiday meals, and going forward, I will make sure that the $50,000 that we get lasts over 3 years, that we get that money allocated for.
That's fine, because Mr. Johnson made the comment that we let professionals do it. We don't
Yes,
worry
actually,
about it.
yeah.
That is rubber stamping it, and that I refuse to do.
Okay,
I will not rubber stamp anything, and if I get chastised because I have questions, it's because I don't.
nobody's chastising you now, all
Okay,
right?
that's it.
So, okay, motion's been, oh, you have something?
Well,
Go ahead.
I either misunderstood things as they were discussed last week, or there's something different now. If you want to take $4,000 from someplace else, you have $4,000, that's a different question than asking us to give $4,000 more. Now, as a matter of principle, it was bad budgeting. If you had $50,000 and you needed $12,000 for the dinners, that was bad budgeting. You weren't here. Unfortunately, you're sitting in the seat now. Can you find a place where $4,000 doesn't need to be spent and spend it on the teachers' dinners, which is,
Yes. I'm sure that I can find $4,000.
if you can promise me you'll do that, I'll vote for that. But
This
I
this
won't vote for
$4,000
something
will
new.
not cause us to exceed our annual budget for the school district. I can guarantee that.
So the wellness fund is complete. This has nothing to do with the wellness fund anymore, correct?
At this point, yes. 'Cause
Okay.
the wellness fund is expended.
Okay, so the wellness fund isn't even an issue now for the motion. But it is highly unfortunate that,
It's a shame that it was mismanaged, that's all.
well, lesson learned. Lesson learned.
Okay, so.
would you,
Mr. Chairman, can I make a comment?
Go ahead, Butch.
I had. the
No, hold
floor.
on a second, Butch. Bill still has the floor. Go ahead, Bill.
Would it be inappropriate for you to add to your increasing list of things that you got to worry about to figure out how they blew the $38,000 before you got here?
It's on the list of things, but it's not the highest priority at the moment. But yes, I am.
All right.
aware of that.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Butch.
Checks and balances.
Well, I'm trying to recall how all that wellness fund was used. I know there was what it was intended for was to do things like smoking cessation, things to help with like diabetes, things to make our employees healthier, because we found by having healthier employees, it cut down on our insurance cost. And I think that's what the money was spent for over 3 years. It wasn't wasted, it wasn't blown, it was used to provide healthy alternatives for the staff and to try to make them healthier, to try to lower our insurance cost, if I recall. But
And that's cool, and that's what it should be used for.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, remember-
last week it got made into a thing of, we don't care about the teachers. That's wrong.
no, I remember a few years ago, they had a wellness day, like in the gymnasium on one of the teachers in service day. I think they had something out of Blanchard at the dam for a wellness day. There was all kind of things like that that they did to try to promote wellness for the staff to help with lowering the insurance cost.
That's it.
You're right, and that's what I was referring to, Butch.
Yeah. Maybe COVID just threw it off the rocks and it just
So.
has to be regrouped.
All right, so is that it? Okay, we have a motion on the floor and a second. Okay, roll call vote.
What exactly is the motion again?
To approve the expenditure of $4,000, approximately $4,000
Pay
to
for
cover
the
the cost
holiday
of employee meals for holiday meals.
Mr. Elling,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Knopf,
Yes.
Ms. Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Scaff,
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Yes. Dr. Baldino,
Yes.
Mr. Cannon? Ms. Donahue?
Yes.
8 members, yes.
Okay.
Chris, would you make the motion for the school ERP Pro software?
I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the school ER Pro software. But I have a question on that for discussion also.
Well, I'll always give a chance
know
for
it.
discussion.
I'll second it, Roger.
Thank you, Butch. All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Discussion?
Yes, as all the board members know, I had written Joni on some of them items I wanted to ask about. And on this, you replied back to me that the information I wanted took 3 different employees taking the time away from their heavy workload.
Yes.
I looked at it as all you'd have to do is hit like a Fund 10 or Fund TIF 15 and get a printout on it. Apparently that's not the case, but will this new software do that? I mean, you should be able to go in and look up, I'm gonna say Roger Elling, and see, boom, everything he's done or been paid, or Fund 10 and see, boom, what it is. I don't understand why it took all these people to do that.
Well, it's just, it's not quite that simple. What you're asking for, like the tuition coming back in, well, that's a receivable. What's going out is a payable. So it's 2 different modules that are used. So it sounds simplistic on your side, but it's more complex. You know, Christy spent some time, I spent some time, Teresa Carlson spent some time on tuition. Not one person does all of those things either. So then now you have to coordinate all of those, you know, all of that information. The litigation comes from, you know, special ed, that's different, comes from the tax office, that's different. So the information and the detail you want, we don't store all that detail in our software. We just don't. We don't do it at that level.
I was just amazed at how much money we have out there with different things.
Mhm.
And that blew me away. But will this new software simplify that? So
I
if we
would bet
need
it would.
something, it'll do it.
I would bet there's a lot of filtering capabilities with the new software, meaning you can ask for more specific drill down information. So I am hopeful that it is. And from what we've seen, and Christy can confirm, that it seems to be a lot simpler, especially reporting wise.
Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Knopf,
Yes.
Ms. Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Scaff,
Yes.
Ms. Smith? Yes. Dr. Baldino,
Yes.
Mr. Cannon, Ms. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Elling.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay. Next up is K7 summer program.
I make a motion that we approve a summer program, but possibly bring it back down to 6 weeks. Or we table it until we find out if they can get more donations. All this would be great place for that 38,000 to be used.
That money is for staff wellness. And this is the summer program. is
I would
student-
say summer programs, health and wellness also.
Staff versus students, it's two different areas.
All right, well,
Can you please, Chris, would you mind amending the motion to just say we approve the program and then I've just had thoughts on that and that we can give them a set amount of money that we would approve. And then within that set amount of money, the administration can decide, can we afford to run it for 6 weeks or cut down on the number of places? I think
okay.
It's our job as the board to approve the program and the funding and then it'd be their job to administer it.
Then I'll retract my motion, but he's gonna have to say how much money we have to spend.
We'll get there. Well, in the discussion, if you make the motion, we can get there.
We,
I gotta retract my motion.
Or you can amend your motion.
I'll amend it,
Okay.
and let somebody else come up with it, because until we know how money we got to spend on it, we can't approve it.
So,
I'd like to make a motion to approve the park summer recreation program for the next year
okay.
with a $60,000 budget.
I'll
You
second
said
that.
60,000,
60,000, I'll explain it.
but it was 50 and we were arguing that was too high.
No. Did you second, Jeff?
I second it.
Okay.
Discussion?
Okay.
In previous years, we've spent about $51,000. It was not, if I'm correct, budgeted in its own budget line, correct? It was just found in the budget. The money was just used out of the general budget. Is that correct?
Actually had I looked back and we actually did have around 30,000 budgeted and that was just been carried over. Then we just started to look at it this past year because it had always pretty much stuck within that budget, but then it became part of the collective bargaining agreement.
Mhm.
And that's when all the instructors' pays increased and jumped.
Mhm.
So that's what jumped the budget up from 30 to 50 to 60 to 70. And that's what happened. So then we realized that and, brought it to the board to transparency to let you know. And plus then we had donations also, kind of back out with their commitment. So that again, we brought that to the board to let you know, hey, we had this budgeted at 30, but we're spending well more than that.
So my thought was we've been spending about 51. The county is now not paying 8,500. That 60,000 will account for what the county is not paying. Hopefully we get at least the same amount from the donors that we've been getting regularly. More hopefully we can send out the letters to let them know that it is getting more expensive and hopefully they would kick in more. But if not, and if all those donations even just go away, we still have 60,000 in the budget for the administration to do what they need to do, make it work. And should we get extra donations, we don't have to use them. If it's in a specific line item, we can carry it over year to year if there's extra. We don't have to spend all of that in 1 year. It can carry over year to year. But it is a very important program and our kids greatly benefit from it. And I just would like to see it continue.
I totally agree. It's a great program. Where are we going to just rip $60,000 from?
We're not ripping 60,000. We have a budget coming up that, if Joni doesn't think 60,000 is, we've done 51. So we've had it and that's fine. I don't think it's,
So we're complaining that the county pulled their money. That's what was said last week. They pulled $8,700 out
and I think
and
it's
we were
important enough.
stuck at 50,000. Now we're gonna up it even more.
It's an important program. We do what we got to do for our kids.
Well, I understand that.
Well, if you go back to the budget that I handed out to you guys last week,
Right. I don't have
if
it
you,
with me.
well, if you go back and you look at that, and I'm looking at it right now, well, I think what Tracy's saying is that if we allocate $60,000, that we're still minus, I think even without or somewhere around, I don't even see here, there were several other entities and municipalities that did contribute. I'm assuming that when we send these letters out, if we say the 60,000 is the figure, whatever comes in from all these other municipalities, and if they're truly interested in saving this program, then they will at least contribute what they've done in the past, which can be used to offset whatever number, if it's the 60,000, whatever comes in, we would offset that amount. And so we wouldn't necessarily be spending $60,000. I'm looking at Castania, contributed $900. The Sons of Italy, the Elks, they each contributed several $100s. Castania Fire Company, the Kiwanis, the Mill Hall Borough contributed $1,000. Pine Creek Township, $1,000. Chapman Township, $1,000. The only one that has formally said they aren't going to contribute anything is the county. So if we approach all of these other municipalities, Lock Haven City, $3,900. So I think if we pass this with a $60,000 figure, at least the administration will know what they have to work with. And then we can deduct the cost with anything we get in the meantime. But I think they need to know that right now, because they are planning their budgets, all these municipalities. So I think that's what Tracy was trying to drive at.
Okay, well, if program normally costs us 70,000 plus, should we wait to jump on this program? I mean, it's important and I agree with it. But should we wait to see if we're even gonna get donations? Because they're just like a grant. There's no guarantee.
So in order for us to, I think, with good faith, write the letters and say we need a donation, we need a green light from the district to say, yes, we're gonna run the program. And once all of these organizations, municipalities know they're gonna run the program, then they have a guarantee that if they obligate those funds, then it's gonna go to what they say it's gonna go to.
And if they back out, we're not gonna do it.
We'll have
Or
to
we
do it
revisit.
We'll have to do it for less money.
Okay. That's fine.
Roger, can I ask a couple questions, please?
Sure thing, Bush.
Two things. Basically, I'm still upset that the county cannot find money in their budget to help finance this endeavor. I think this is very important for the children of Clinton County. And I think the county needs to step up and be responsible to help us do things during the summer for these children. That's first. And second, I have a question about the salary. It's something we need to look at. I guess you're saying it's a contractual item to pay the workers. And the last I heard, I think they're getting around $20 an hour to work. But then I look at our agenda and we're paying our aides, I think $15.25. So why are we paying these workers in the summer more than we're paying our aides that are in the school every day? So,
I think it's because they're tied in, Butch, with the teacher CBA. Is that correct? And so those wages are dictated by whatever's in that agreement. So the support people are under another contract, as you well know, and their wages are set through that.
then let's hire them as aides at $15.25. We'll save $4.75 an hour.
I agree.
So, that's it. Thank you.
Elizabeth?
Thank you. I just want to say, of course, we want summer programs for children in our county or school district. But one thing I don't think we've done a very good job at, because there's been other priorities, is we've never gone out and tried to make cooperative agreements with all the other summer programs already going on right now. There's ones at the YMCA, churches have them. The Haven Summer Youth Program, now that's a Saturday program, but they have hundreds of kids and they keep growing. So to be honest with you, I think that if, Kurt Lynch would know, whether or not it should be a 6 or 8 week program in cooperation with administration. So however you work that out, but I think that this is a real opportunity to possibly make a subcommittee, include these other entities that are in our community and see if we can build a real summer program for kids. And and it could be anything from robotics camp to nature camp to education camp, whatever this collaboration might look like. But I don't feel comfortable looking at the next year and trying to just put something together without those conversations with the other organizations.
Okay, thank you. Bill?
I want to make sure I understand something correctly. Did I understand Ms. Smith correctly? We in the past, we've spent a little over $50,000 of our money on this program.
The
Correct.
last year is about $51,000 out of school district
Okay.
general fund.
With
that was
that,
used to
no
support
matter
this
what we
program.
got in donations, we were laying out
The total
51.
cost of the program was a little more than
$70,
$70,000.
I thought.
And we had
Okay,
about
yeah.
$18,000 in donations.
All right. I would like to move to amend the motion to say we approve a summer fund to a summer program with a maximum school district expenditure of $51,000 pending outside contributions.
Tracy, that's up to you. You're the one that made the motion.
Well,
And it was
actually,
second.
you call, see if somebody wants to second it and then you vote on it.
I'll second
No,
it.
you act.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the way it works.
The motion has already been made and has been
Yeah.
seconded. Now, in
And the
order for it,
secondary motion is then considered before the primary motion.
we have already.
I don't remember the specific rules on that, but
That's the way
Roger, you have to vote in a secondary motion first. After the
Yes.
secondary motion either pass or fails,
fails,
then you
then
move on
you
to
go
the
to the
primary motion.
primary motion.
Right,
Okay, thanks, Butch.
right.
You had more experience than that, so. All right. So
So we would
you're
need,
making a
somebody
motion to
needs to,
amend it.
somebody, yes.
51,000.
And my motion would be to approve a summer program with a maximum expenditure of school district funds of $51,000.
just a clarifying question on that. If we were to get donations, then the total expenditure on the program could exceed $51,000.
Yes.
I'd second that unless Elizabeth.
No, please go.
I'll second that.
Okay. All right.
Now you should have discussion on that and then a vote.
Okay. Discussion?
I think that's a very good compromise.
Was that, you talking max out of Keystone Central's pocket of 51?
Max. Max.
Good job.
I said 60 just to cover to make up for it in case we don't get increased donations, just to keep the program at where it is, at least for this year.
Okay. I have to put my 2 cents in here. I agree. 51,000 is good, but what I'm looking at is the fact that, as we all know, there's been inflation and everything else, and it has gone through the roof. So I was also thinking along the lines of 60,000. That way, if we don't get that donation or someone doesn't step up and help us out, we at least have that amount of money. Okay, so And by being at the 60,000, we're kind of increasing it a little bit, but we're not going overboard. And we're not taking it all the way up to paying for everything. I actually feel that 60,000 would be a better number than the 51,000 that was suggested. So that's
Okay.
my 2 cents.
Is there
I-
anything we can do to cut cost?
Well, here's the thing, what I'm looking at is if we actually do it at 60,000, okay?
Mhm.
And we say 60,000 is all we're gonna allot, that's it, okay? That's gonna give Dr. Redmond a chance to say, okay, this is how much we have. We're gonna make this program work for that 60,000. That's it. You know, we're not going over 60, we're not gonna spend out more than that 60,000. Now, if we get the donations, okay, then with that, it could go higher than that and possibly come back up to the 71,000 or the 70,000, 313.49 that was here before. And, that would bring us right back to where we're at. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for, is that we do that. And that's why I'm looking forward to that. So that's my 2 cents.
Right.
All right,
May I?
go ahead.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I just figured if we go with what we've already spent, then it's not a question of bumping the budget, okay? If you think we should spend a little more, then, we could discuss that. We could see, if you want to do that, then the way you handle that is you move to amend my motion to $60,000,
Right.
But I just use that figuring we've already spent that, so that's going to be less of an argument than anything else.
Right.
And it gives Dr. Redmond the option to, if we can pull it off for 8 weeks, we pull it off for 8 weeks. If we could only pull it off for 7 weeks or 6 weeks, then we still have a summer. I really don't want to see us go without a summer program. I think the kids can use that. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
And I
So,
think-
go ahead,
I
Jeff.
think you're right, Bill. I think if we have a dollar figure, then I think that's what the administration really is asking for. They need to know how many dollars are in the pot, and then they can structure the program to fit that amount of money. If it means 6 weeks, if it means 7 weeks, or whatever amount. And that's what I'm thinking I agree with what Roger's saying. I think if we had that, I'm confident if we not just send out letters, but if we actually make phone calls to these different organizations and different municipalities and say, hey, are you still on board this year? Right, because sending letters or emails, they get ignored. But I think if we make personalized contact
Old-fashioned,
with
get somebody on the phone and talk.
these groups, whether they're organizations or municipalities, I think that most of them would probably come through with some kind of a donation. So if we say 60,000, and even if we get a portion of what we had from the past, we weren't going to be spending any more than we spent in the past. So I'm really confident that would happen, but.
You made the motion for 51,000?
Yeah.
We just need to vote on that, Roger.
Yep.
You
So
can move to amend it to 60,000.
actually, no.
No, we just voted it down.
We just vote this down. So, okay,
Okay.
go ahead.
Mr.
So
Johnson?
What's the motion? So we understand. It's the voting down of the 51?
So,
No,
this is,
The motion is to have 51,000 as the total budget.
Or the summer program.
We're all trying to get to the same place, but if you really want to follow Robert's Rules of Order, if you vote my amendment down, then you're not allowed to have another amendment that changes the money value. The way you handle it is you make another motion to amend my motion and vote on that.
Even though
Yes.
the original
The
motion.
original motion is in the, it's not done until all the other discussions, then you approach that.
But the original motion was for $60,000. So if we vote down the secondary, wouldn't we go back to the first motion that was for 60,000?
Yeah.
The original was, I
Yes,
didn't, I
yeah.
missed, I apologize, I missed that as the cap. I
Or
thought that
you
was
could actually
mentioned in
just-
the discussion, but
Yeah,
wasn't
that
put in
was
the
Tracy's
motion.
original
Right,
motion.
so then
Then that's
if you
my
actually
mis-
rescind, or, yeah,
Do we have it, this is the reason that you're supposed to read back your exact motion before you vote on it. But,
Right.
you know, it's, so the original motion is to approve a summer program for a maximum expenditure of $60,000.
Mhm.
correct,
It doesn't have maximum,
Okay, then I
but-
missed that, I'm sorry.
All right.
with,
It
with,
doesn't have
yeah.
maximum, but it does give it 60,000.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's
So.
do 60.
But I think
Alright.
that's important, you know?
Yeah.
You need to have that,
so,
that this is how much, the maximum we can spend. If we can get away with less, we get away with less. you know?
Yes.
okay. All right, so
Are we voting down?
did you rescinded your motion?
No, okay, we're doing it that way. I don't think that's right, but yes, I'll rescind the motion.
We'll look,
Yeah.
So typically we'd have to
We'll look into
vote
that.
for it.
Yeah,
If his
I think
motion
we're
fails,
supposed
then
to
we go
vote
back
on
to-
it,
Yeah,
turn that
let's just
down, and
vote
then
on
go
it.
to
Okay.
the original.
Please,
All right.
Please, thank you.
go ahead, do the vote.
So again, this is the vote on Bill's secondary motion
For
to,
51.
for 51, to approve this summer program for a cap of 51,000. And it's sitting inside the initial motion, which was to approve the summer program for a maximum expenditure of 60,000.
Correct.
Got it. Thank you. Good.
Mr. Johnson,
No.
Mr. Knopf,
No.
Ms. Lynch,
Well, at least we're keeping you, I'm sorry. No.
Mr. Scap,
No.
Ms. Smith,
No,
Dr. Baldino.
No.
Mr. Cannon, Ms. Donahue,
No.
Mr. Elling,
No,
8 noes.
okay. So
Now you
now we
vote on the
have,
main
we have the
motion.
motion for, the original motion,
Right. Which it should be read back.
okay? And your motion was,
to approve the summer rec program with a budget of $60,000.
okay,
Mhm.
all right. Can we get a roll call vote on that?
Mr. Knopf,
Yes.
Ms. Lynch,
I'm not laughing at you, Butch. Yes,
Yes, you
sorry.
Mr. Scap,
Yeah.
Ms. Smith,
Yes,
Dr. Baldino,
Yes.
Mr. Cannon, Ms. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Elling,
Yes,
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
8 members say yes.
okay. Chris,
I'd like to make a motion for L personnel,
Is that to
what,
approve?
what is the motion?
Second vote.
to approve.
Okay,
I make the motion on L number 1, personnel to approve
I'll second.
with discussion.
okay. Discussion?
I'd like to call a quick executive session, please. Before we vote.
Can I ask my question first?
Yes, I just want to put that out there. Thank you.
Did you get the numbers yet that I was asking for?
I sent them in the weekly memo. I was late on the memo, but I sent it on Monday morning.
That was on students, wasn't it?
I'm sorry, remind me which,
I wanted to know how many staff we have now
I sent
versus
them.
what we had a year ago.
I sent it on Monday.
Okay, I'll have to look and see.
Okay.
Thank you.
And, okay. And Elizabeth, why do we need an executive session?
Because it's something on the personnel list and I can't say it in a public meeting.
Okay, it would have been nice if we knew about this.
I'm sorry.
prior.
Yes, I'm sorry. Apologies, but yes, it would just take 3 minutes. And I apologize to the folks out there, but I wish I could talk about it, but I can't.
She has
Elizabeth, Roger, can I ask a question?
Go ahead, Butch.
What are the parameters for having an executive session? If I remember off the top of my head, it's a legal issue. It's dealing with real estate, and I can't remember the rest of them.
Personnel.
And a
personnel.
personnel
Personnel.
issue.
Okay.
Talking about bargaining issues.
and contractual stuff.
And this deals directly with personnel issues.
Yes, it does. Take
Okay.
3 minutes, not even.
Okay, we're gonna call an executive session.
I don't know how you're gonna do it with me online.
Paul? can-
Sam, you two will have to step out for.
So Butch and Polly, I can just call you on a conference call.
You good with that?
I'm good, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
Polly?
that's fine. Yep.
All right.
Sorry,
All
Sam.
right, I'm
That's
muting.
Okay, we're back from the executive
Are we
session.
unmuted?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go tell them. what
Personnel.
Okay. Give me a second, will ya? All right, we're back from executive session. We were discussing a personnel issue. The executive session went from 7:48 PM to 8:02 PM. And we are now back. So with the motion is on the floor for the approval of the personnel. Okay, and it's been seconded by Tracy. Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Ms. Lynch,
Yes.
Mr. Scaf,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Dr. Baldino,
Yes.
Mr. Cannon, Ms. Donahue,
Yes.
Mr. Elling,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Knopf,
Yes.
8 members, yes.
Okay. All right. Now, okay, before I ask for an adjournment, anybody have any questions or anything they need to say? Okay, go ahead, Elizabeth.
Okay, just not to sound snippy, but
Well, that means you're gonna be snippy.
I'll try not to be. I haven't eaten since lunch, so, just real quick. Resolution 144, the delegate, TCC delegate, we didn't promise, you stated that it would be on December 5th.
I said we would discuss it. Yes.
Okay, yes. So I just want to make it clear, when we did pass that resolution, and it's on February 8th board docs, it doesn't state anywhere that we have given up our power to our delegate. So until a formal motion or something happens, that delegate has to take directives from their entity. Okay, so I understand what you said, but that's,
When, okay, so,
okay,
and what we do is whenever we've done that, the delegates are considered free delegates.
Doesn't
They
say-
are not
was not-
directive
sorry.
delegates.
I'm
So-
sorry, I was here, it was never discussed, and it's not in the resolution.
Okay, well,
That's your opinion, sir.
yep,
Thank you.
and that's yours. So, okay, next.
I'd like to say that I wish Tom was here, but Bill and I haven't talked to him about what I want to say, but we're on the eve of our 1-year anniversary. Okay? It's been an honor representing the people that voted us in. We knew there was going to be controversy coming in, and you're always going to have it. People don't like change. But with that said, Tom brought up the issue of disrespect and demeaning people at a previous meeting, but it still continues. There's some people here that have bent over backwards to help the 3 of us new folks get acclimated to the system. There are some people that have just disrespected us and not lifted a finger to acclimate what we've done, or to even get us up to speed on where we are. We've been shown nothing but disrespect and attitude, and we're all beneath certain people. I stand underneath of nobody. We're all equals here. It's been preached since day one. We're a team of 10. Okay, but when you have somebody that's promoting people to write negative letters in the Express or in any publication, calling us new board members names, telling us we need to sit back and learn and not be involved. I have a problem with that. I will not even think about calling this a team of 10 unless we can promote a positive atmosphere of unity or even taking a step towards it. We need to do that. It's always said it's for the kids, it's for the teachers. It absolutely is. It's not about one person. It's not about all of the other stuff that's going on. As I've stated before, and I always will, I will not rubber stamp anything. If I'm going to ask a question, I don't care who gets mad at me. I'm going to ask that question. That's why the people of Region 1 voted me in there. We all had to fight for our elections to win them. And we had to make promises to people that we would be transparent, upfront, and done. The flying off the handle, telling people that we're trying to take your stuff away from them and everything else needs to stop. If you want a team, let's be a team. We're stepping into a new year. And if people cannot be if people cannot be respectful, transparent, and be team players, I would welcome their letter of resignation. With that said, to all our staff that have been pushed down the ladder that we don't care about them, they're absolutely wrong. You guys are the rock stars that are shaping our students for the future. Flat and simple. We're all supposed to be doing that. And when we have one person that says that's not what we're doing, I take that to heart. With that said, let's step on to another year. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Okay, I'll take the motion for adjournment.
I'll make that motion to adjourn.
Second.
You missed not
It's
doing
over.
that.
I do.